Have you ever done a 75-day challenge of any sort? If so, which one? And how did that work out for you? What did you learn from that experience? Let me know in the comments. It's been 1 week and I am checking in. 1 week ago, I started a 75-day challenge. I decided to go all in, adopting the life of my ideal self. I initially started to do this to prepare for the hard 75, but it very quickly became its own thing. Since starting it, I have realized how important this was for me. I have realized how much I was holding myself back, and I was aware of fear's impact in my life, but I didn't realize how much it was stopping me. So if you haven't seen my other video, a quick recap of what the challenge is it's me getting clear about who my ideal self is, getting very clear about who she is, what she does, how she does it, the life she lives, and jumping full speed into that life. So rather than the way I used to do things, which was, okay, when this lines up in this way, or when my kids are this age, or when this happens, I'm gonna do this. Instead of doing that, I decided that everything I wanna be and everything I wanna do and everything I wanna have, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna be it right now. I'm gonna have it right now. I was aware, I anticipated some challenges, and I can honestly say that since I started, there have been some obstacles, some challenges, but it has not been what I expected it to be. I found that the most helpful thing for me to do was, since I struggle with believing everything for myself, or inserting myself into certain possibilities, like most people, it was easier for me to believe that something was possible for someone else, but not myself. So I would think, hey, she's doing this thing, great for her. If this worked out in my life, then I can have that too. Or if this was this way, then this could work out for me too. But since starting this challenge, I realized, first of all, I was doing that, and I just decided I'm not gonna do it anymore. So with that awareness, I started to project the belief that I would have for other people onto myself. So what do I mean by that? Instead of saying, she has that, great for her, or she is this person, she is strong and capable, I started projecting that onto myself. So I would start with the belief that I would have for someone else, and then transpose it onto myself. So what does that look like? She wakes up every day diligently at 5 a.m., no matter what. No matter when she goes to bed, no matter what happens with the kids, she wakes up at 5 a.m. I could say that and believe that for someone else, but I could not believe that for myself, especially with my kids. You all know how it goes. So I just started saying the same thing about me. I wake up at 5 a.m. no matter what. No matter what happens with my kids, no matter what time I go to bed, no matter what, I wake up at 5 a.m. And I just constantly repeat that to myself. In the same way, I would constantly repeat negative things. I just replaced them with positive things. I took control of what I allowed in my mind. And I just decided that thinking the worst was no longer an option. Limiting myself was no longer an option. Since doing this, my life has already started shifting. As I said, she wakes up at 5 a.m. no matter what. Well, guess what? I wake up at 5 a.m. no matter what. And I got very clear about her schedule, what her life looks like, how she feels throughout the day, how she interacts with people, how she sees the world. And I've been consistently plugging into her, plugging into that life. and I have already seen dramatic shifts. I made a point. She values self-care. She values her morning routine. She values her evening routine. And I have already seen a shift with how I handle life throughout the day. And even in my family, my kids were already mindful of self-care because I do value that. But like I said, the whole point of the challenge was I'm gonna actually live the life I want. I'm not gonna think about what I want or what I could have. I'm just gonna do it. So my kids were aware of self-care, wellness, taking care of yourself and prioritizing you. But I can admit they didn't always see me do it. So since I've started, it has been amazing. It's been amazing to watch my 4-year-old talk about, I have to get my gratitude journal and I have to reflect and I have to check in with myself and I have to, all the things that I would want for her to carry in life. But if I haven't shown her how to do it, how can I her to do it? I don't know if you all had a similar experience, but parts of my journey included do this with no reference point, no guide as to what that thing should look like. So I made it a point in my parenting to always give my kids, always give them something to reference, to give them a model of what it looks like. And that's what keeps me learning. That's what keeps me growing, because there's a lot I don't know. I'm on a lifelong journey. So as I learn, as I grow, I pour that back into them. Another thing that has shifted is how I show up here. So one of the things I committed to myself was just consistently posting. And it has become so much easier, not even waking up early, because I used to do that. I used to wake up early, but I would immediately start working. I was a teacher, and instead of taking time for myself to pour into myself and just really set the tone for the day, I would get up and finish last night's work. And if you know anything about teaching, you know it never ends until the school year's over. And I just didn't have great boundaries. So moving forward, I've just been really locked into having healthy boundaries with people, with myself, with my work. And since starting this challenge, it has been so much easier to do that. So I knew this would impact my family. And so it has been amazing to watch my participation positively affect them. Some people have started reflecting on their own lives and their own timelines and their own meditations, the thing they're constantly telling themselves throughout the day. My brother-in-law, actually, we had a conversation and he sat down with it, and instead of delaying what he wanted to do, that same day he bought him a bike. He values his health and his fitness, and he said, you know what, today I'm gonna go buy me a bike. And that was incredible. So it has been amazing to see the positive impact I've had just living my life. That has been amazing. So the hardest part of jumping in immediately and embodying my ideal self has been what I anticipated it to be, which was just not fully knowing what that looks like. I had a routine and a flow that allowed me to be very productive and very successful, but I also did not have 2 small kids. And that was one of my limiting beliefs for so long. I can't do this with my kids. I can't do that with my kids. And I just, since starting this challenge, I just eliminated all that. And so actually making the adjustments necessary to walk that out has been a bit challenging, but like everything, you go with the flow, you walk the path. As you go along the path will unfold, and make adjustments as necessary. So I have been consistent with the routine that I set out, and as I've done it, I've realized, okay, this is not gonna work, because for example, I know I need structured flexibility. So block scheduling works best for me because it allows me to ensure I get everything done, I take care of everyone I need to, and I leave room for life. One of the things I've had to adjust was my block schedule. I kept it light and decided, hey, I'll add on if I need to. And so I've just been tweaking what works best, just figuring it all out and keeping things healthy and sustainable. So that's been my biggest priority. My routines and my priorities have changed dramatically. I now wake up at 5 o'clock and no matter what time I go to bed. As I said, I let limiting beliefs lead my life. So, there was always a reason why I couldn't do something. I'm just gonna be honest. There was always I would do this, but or if only, or once this happens, once my husband is able to have the kids during this time, there was always an excuse. And since I started this challenge, she doesn't accept excuses. She figures it out. Thus, I don't accept excuses. I figure it out. So I have had to figure it out. Part of that was just getting very clear on a sustainable schedule, sustainable routine. And if you would like a breakdown of what I did, let me know in the comments. But I don't make excuses. She doesn't make excuses. So some of my days have included working out with my kids. And when I say working out with them, I literally mean using my 2-year-old as my weight. My 4-year-old, she loves it. Sometimes we do the Grow with Joe workouts. Sometimes we'll just freestyle. But my 2-year-old, she just wants to run around and play. So I get her involved. Why? Because she doesn't make excuses. I don't make excuses. Other times it has been shifting my day. So like I said, I have to wake up at 5 no matter what, and I have a set schedule. But what happens when my kids wake up with me? What happens when my kids wake up with me? That defeats the whole purpose of waking up at a time that ensures I'm up before them, I have my morning routine complete, I have a couple minutes to spare possibly, and I can be a fully engaged, present mom throughout the day. What happens when they wake up with me? I just go with the flow and adjust. So there have been a few days where I had to adjust. I had to shift. I had to pivot. But because I had a clear path, a clear plan, it was so much easier to pivot. My priorities have definitely changed. I'm not just saying I prioritize self-care, but I'm actually doing it. And since I have started consistently giving myself that time in the morning and in the evening for myself, it has drastically improved my mood. It has drastically improved my family interactions, the way I flow throughout the day, which has encouraged me to be very intentional about my morning priorities. So as I said, I prioritize my self-care. I prioritize my most important task or project first thing in the morning, and my reading, pouring into myself, my reflection, growing, all of that. And that allows room for life to happen because life just be lifing sometimes. So taking care of me and the most important things has allowed for me to be so much calmer throughout the day, so much more peaceful, have so much more peace. The one thing I know now that I wish I knew on day one was to just jump in. And I know I said that in my first video, in my info video, when I was telling you all what the challenge is about in the first place. And as much as I said, I'm just jumping all in. I'm a planner. I like to plan. I like the planners, all the journals, I like everything laid out. And so I did that. And though I began the challenge, I ended up slowing myself down. I began on day one, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't all in. It took about 3 days for my mind to catch up to what I was doing. And it wasn't necessarily because I was doing something different or living a different life abruptly. It was really because I felt like I couldn't really get started until I had everything perfectly lined out, until I wrote out the schedule. I'm not exaggerating, this is what I did. I wrote out like a storyline of what her day would look like. And then I took that story and then mapped it out into a block schedule. And then I took that block schedule and then mapped it out into checkpoints, things to consider throughout the day. And just all of this, I guess you could say, unnecessary paperwork that kind of slowed me down. So as important as it is to have a clear map, a clear outline of what you are doing, it's more important to be locked in mentally. And if I could go back on day one, I would have definitely written out the story and I would have shortened it because mine was very detailed, very, very, very detailed. But I would have mapped out with more simplicity what her day looks like and what her schedule looks like. And I would have taken one page to do it and just jumped right in, because I know that you can always make adjustments. You can always tweak, and no matter what plan you make in life, adjustments will have to be made somewhere. So if I could go back and, start on day one, I would say map things out, have a clear picture, but go with the flow. Trust the path. You don't need to overplan. So I made my own outlines and templates and everything to map this out because, as I said, I need structured flexibility. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments. If you have any questions about the journey thus far, let me know. So what do you think about this challenge? How is it resonating with you? Let me know in the comments. If no one's told you today, you are amazing, you are capable, and you are worthy. I hope this has answered some of your questions, give you some insight, and most importantly, give you encouragement. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.